I love breath. I'm thankful for my breath. Say it with me. I'm thankful for my breath. I love breath. I'm thankful for my breath. I love breath. Thankful for my breath. I love breath. America, y'all calling me. I don't know why y'all calling me, but my spirit is. I even had a dream that I was in America. I said, when I start dreaming these things, it's like, it's a done deal. And I'm just like, my dreams are very sacred. I rarely share my dreams. Very few times. The last time I had these dreams, it was women in Africa, their children. Some of them came with their husbands. The Philippines. It was all over Africa. And then the Philippines, and then the American woman, and then the European woman. They were just lined up. It was just like a lot of them just lined up, crying. I said, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. It was quite something. It was really something. But that was the last dream I shared with you. But I had another dream, and it was like, I was like, wow, it's a thing. Okay. Good morning. Okay, we are reading from Truth Seekers Detox. Okay. Truth Seekers Detox. Rewiring your nervous system for authentic living. This is why we breathe. Start off with our breath. Why do we do this? Because breath is life. Life is breath. Breath is life. Life is breath. The sound of your voice activates your vagus nerve. And hearing your own voice is so profound. So few of us. So I've heard a lot of people say, I don't like my voice. I don't like my voice. I love my voice, but because I've got an incredible voice. Say these things about yourself. The reason I'm modeling this for you is so that you can have some self-confidence and some self-worth, and you can just say these things about yourself. Why not? I'm an incredible human being. Well, I'm a spiritual being. I don't know about you, but I'm a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in a human body. My experience here on planet Earth is spiritual. It's not a human experience. It's a spiritual experience in a human body. Something like this. Okay. Say these things about yourself. What you say to yourself, the blessings you pour over your body, your electromagnetic field you radiate out into your electromagnetic field becomes your reality. It becomes your reality. Honestly, it becomes your reality. People can say whatever they want to say about you. In fact, if you're strong enough as a spiritual being, you just then bounce it back to them, return back to sender, bounce back, and then they start to experience whatever they sent out to you. I am this. I don't play. I don't play. You send out negativity, I send it right back to you. Return back to sender. And then they start experiencing it. Then in and out of psych wards. And they're crying and they're ranting on social media. So this is the power of sound. This is the power. It is power. In the beginning, there was light. But also, the Christians say, God spoke. And there was. Right? If y'all Christian. I'm not. I'm spiritual. Okay? But sound is very, very important. You can speak something, it becomes. You can speak towards someone and they, depending on how powerful they are, they return it back to sender and you are in a psych ward. I am this. You have that power. You don't actually have to put up with people's ignorance. However, you got to speak life upon you. Activate the life force in you. Activate it. And do not allow anybody to speak nothing over your life that is not of the highest good. But most people can't speak anything but darkness because they are hollow and dark. So you gotta have that level of authority over your own life, because there's a lot of ignorance here on planet Earth. I would love to say, oh no, it's just everything is love and light. No, there is darkness here on planet Earth. Without light, there is no darkness. Without darkness, there is no light. Okay? So speak good over yourself. Start with a fresh breath. Have power over it, over yourself. Okay, rest and reflection. Day 49. The sanctuary of sacred listening. The sanctuary of sacred listening. I have not turned my ear away from divine instruction. Today is restoration through sacred listening. After a week of examining resistance to guidance, Sorry. Yeah, okay. After a week of examining resistance to guidance and practicing receptivity to instruction, your nervous system needs space to integrate new patterns of openness to wisdom. True rest includes resting your defenses against learning and growing. Sacred listening means being available to receive instruction, even rest. Sometimes the most profound guidance comes in quiet moments, when your ego's defenses are down. Today you practice the receptivity of rest, being open to wisdom without agenda, receiving guidance without immediate need to act. The deepest instruction often comes not through dramatic revelations, but through subtle whispers that only a truly receptive heart can hear. Today, you practice the quality of listening that allows wisdom to enter through the smallest openings, the gentle suggestions, the most unexpected sources. Embodiment practice. Sit in complete stillness for 10 minutes with no agenda except to listen. Don't seek guidance. Simply remain available to receive whatever wisdom wants to come. Say, I am a sacred vessel for divine instruction. Wisdom flows to me through the openness of my listening. Let us read that again. Today's restoration through sacred listening. After a week of examining resistance to guidance and practicing receptivity to instruction, your nervous system needs space to integrate new patterns of openness to wisdom. True rest includes resting your defenses against learning and growing. Okay, we've been on a journey where we've been learning. We've been growing. And I learned this in insanity workout. You remember those insanity workouts? If you practiced or you've completed an insanity workout, please share it in the comments. How was it? It's like those beach body workouts. I actually should go back to that. I really enjoyed those insanity workouts. Yeah. Oh, they were tough. They were really tough. Honestly, they were tough. I stopped liking cardio after that. My knees would hurt, my hips would hurt, my back would, every part of my body would hurt when I would practice those insanity workouts. Yeah, but I learned that rest was so important for the recovery and the growth of the muscles. I was practicing P90X, and Tony Horton was the instructor, right, of P90X. And he said, oh, rest is so important. Your rest day was so important because it built the muscles. And then even, I can't remember the insanity guy. Who is the insanity guy? I can't remember. Put it in the comments. What's his name? Shanti. Yes, Shanti. Shanti would say, yeah, no, rest is very, very important. I really loved those workouts. Honestly, I really loved those workouts. They were so amazing. That is the only cardio that I really enjoyed. But it was so grueling. Americans. Hi, Americans. It was so grueling. So grueling. It really was grueling. Honestly, it was just grueling work. But it was beautiful work. You know, really grueling work, really beautiful work. But they emphasized the importance of rest. While you were growing up and going to school, you would go to school for a semester and then you would have a semester break, right? And you would just go out and play. You would go out to the beach if it was your summer vacation, or go to your grandma's house. I used to love just going to my grandma's house during school holidays. I loved going to my grandma's house during school holidays. Honestly, I really loved going to my grandma's house because my grandma, we used to make like flower essence together, and we used to make healing medicines from her garden. She always was puttering around. This is before she started going to church too much, but she was always puttering around in her garden. She had a nice little garden. And she used to plant all of these like flowers. She had roses, but she also had herbs in her garden. And I was just thinking about that recently. And I was like, this woman, she knew how to make medicine from just plants and herbs in her garden. And I loved spending time with her. I really enjoyed spending time with her over the holidays. I also loved spending time with my mom over the holidays because my mom was a school teacher. So, kindergarten teacher. And so during school holidays, we used to make things. Like we used to crochet, and we used to make collages, and we used to make dolls. And there was always an activity. I'm thankful for that. But it allowed the brain to rest from the math and the hectic schedule of waking up at 5 o'clock, being on the road, to be at school by 7:30, and just the hustle and bustle of being indoctrinated into a human. Indoctrinated into the human experience. Now that I think about it, we're all indoctrinated into the human experience. You know, you start off very young by going to nursery school. I was living with my grandma when I was going to nursery school, and my uncle, and just the indoctrination of getting up every single day and just going to nursery school. And then I lived with my parents during the primary school, and just the indoctrination of going to private schools. It's just private schools, just that indoctrination. And then when I went to high school, I went to boarding school. It was still an indoctrination, but I didn't have to travel too far. It was just like a 5-minute walk from my boarding house to the school. But it's like an indoctrination into being a human. The rest and the school holidays are just so amazing because it's the time you get to reflect on what you've learned throughout the semester and how you could improve the next semester. And I think the idea of getting they call it a report card, I think in America or the world, but like you get a report card of what was your progress during that semester. I think the idea was somewhat good in that it showed you how you needed to, or what areas you could focus on improving. But because the nature of human, the nature of human is geared towards competition, is geared towards being better, and like I need to be the best. We take those report cards and we either make ourselves wrong for not having an A in everything, or we think we are the best because we have an A in everything. It's the nature of competition. I got A's for everything. I got A's for everything. Okay, so why are you now a focused fool in life later? But like rest is so important. And that it gives you time to reflect. This was good in our primary school years or our high school years. The problem is when we become adults, we become like very strange humans. We don't remember what we learned in school. So we were getting A's in schools, or you were getting B's or C's and D's. And then when you become an adult, you become like a focused fool. Focusful. You become just so focused and so one-track minded, you forget that rest is important every 3 months until you burn out. And then you just feel purposeless, and you just feel hopeless, and you just feel worthless, and you just feel like, I don't know what to do. I'm just, you can only go so far. You can only go so far and push so far and keep moving so much without rest. And then your life becomes a living nightmare. It becomes a living nightmare. This is how I found myself in this situation. It's because I'd forgotten the lessons of primary school, kindergarten, high school. And in the culture of perfectionism, the culture of productivity, the culture of profit, which is America, not that other countries are not this, Asia is totally this, Africa is becoming this, some countries are becoming this, maybe South Africa, not as much because they drink Thursdays. Pusa Thursdays, yeah, jive. I mean, you can't knock that for South Africans. South Africans start drinking on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They're drunk. They come to work drunk on Friday. Okay. Maybe not so much now. Maybe they're starting to understand wellness. Who knows? But yeah, South Africans, we like to dance. We like to just have fun. It's Pusa Thursday. And we get drunk. And Friday, you come to work, you show up with, they call it the babalas, like a hangover. And then Friday night is the drinking. Saturday, Sunday, same thing. Monday, you go back to work. It's just our culture. We just like to have fun. I don't know how good that is. But, it's part of a very unhealthy culture of coping from trauma. It's really just a coping strategy of trauma. It's not really a healthy part of our culture. But in a culture of like productivity, perfectionism, and profit, which is America, you burn out real fast. Oh, you burn out real fast. Because you forget the lessons you learned in kindergarten. In kindergarten, you used to go to school for 3 months and then you take a break. In primary school, you go to school for 3 months and then you take a break. Semester 1, 2, summer break, and then you go back to, winter break, winter semester, you take a break. Then this spring semester, you take a break. Then summer school, you're either off or you go to summer school, and then you still take a break in summer school, and then you go to the fall semester, and then you still take a break after fall semester. This is what I experienced in America when I was going to school. I used to just take school all year round. Even summer, I used to just still go to school, take summer classes. But this is how this is the indoctrination at the very beginning. This is the foundation of our indoctrination, to be human. So I've never quite understood how, when we start working and we become adults, we forget these lessons. No wonder people are purposeless. No wonder people feel meaningless. No wonder people crash out. But we've been doing this for so long, that the body can't take it anymore. The spirit cannot take it anymore. The brain is overwhelmed with overthinking. The brain is overwhelmed with stress. The brain is overwhelmed with all sorts of things. Our relationships are falling apart. Our body temples are falling apart. People are ill, taking pills. Insomnia. And once you train your body to live in this dysfunction for enough years, it becomes the energetic pattern of your being. Even when you retire, or even when you decide to take time off, and even when you just let it leave, it takes you so long to retrain your body tempo to a baseline of being a normal human, because now you're a bot. You're like a robot. You're just like going it never ends, because you don't stop and say, but like, in primary school I didn't live like this. In high school I didn't live like this. In university I didn't live like this. Why now is it that I'm at work, I get 2 weeks off, but when I was in primary school and when I was in a university, I used to get 3 months off a year. 3 months, or sometimes even more, depending if you took summer classes or not. How did we become this? How did we become this? How did we become this? No wonder people are unaliving themselves. How could you not? How could you not unalive yourself? But just me sharing this with you, you're probably like thinking, yeah, so true. Of course it's so true, because I've lived my crash and I come out on the other side and I'm like, damn, I'm wise. Not only that, I'm hella strong. Not only that, I'm irreplaceable. Not only that, I'm expensive to be around. Because I've sat through my own collapse and worked my way through the fear of death, the fear of hell, all sorts of these fears. Fears of loss of status, fears of family collapsing, fears of all sorts. It's really around fear. Fear. Yesterday I was sharing with you about the fear of death and the fear of hell. Okay, and I kind of gave you a practice and some questions to think about. But if you have a lot of guilt, I'm sorry, there's no way you're going to use those questions that I gave you yesterday to actually transcend the fear of death and the fear of hell. Why? Because you carry a lot of guilt. And during the time of transition, your heart will be weighed against the scale of the feather of Ma'at. What? It's purgatory, which the Christians and the Catholics would call it purgatory. We all have to go through the stage where we do a life review. A life review. How have I lived my life on this planet? In the Kameic way, it's called the weighing of the scales. When your heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at. Ma'at. In the Christians, it's like before you go to the pearly gates of heaven, you go through purgatory, where, everything you've done right, you've done wrong, whatever, all of the stuff. So I think inherently the school system, when we were all being indoctrinated into this human experience, is indicative of what happens in the afterlife when you take your last breath here on planet Earth. You get a report card. How did I do? What do I need to work on next semester? This idea of being here on this planet is a school. It's a very, very high level school. And, a lot of us don't even recognize that. We might have been good in school and we were getting A's, but in the school of life, you are quite something, focusful. And your report card might not be so A-like, filled with A's. And it's okay, it's not a big deal. This is why it's so important to take sabbaticals. This is why it's so important to rest. To rest. 10 minutes a day, an hour of meditation. Start with 10 minutes. That's what we're going to do today. Just 10 minutes of just resting. What that does is it starts training your brain. It starts training your nervous system to be in constant reflection. Constant reflection. Living in a state of reflection. Why? Why do we want to live in a state of reflection? Because if you are on autopilot like a robot, you don't know what decisions you are making today, how they are going to affect you 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 18 years from now. And when the consequences of the choices that you made, yesterday we were talking about, I am capable, right, of choosing courageous action. Courageously choosing, right? If you don't remember, please make sure that you look at the live streams. Yesterday's live stream, we were talking about this. Intuition and choosing from understanding your own body, how the intuition works, what you're thinking. But if you're not reflecting, number one, you have no awareness of what you're choosing. But yet, in primary school, in kindergarten, in high school, we were taught this. Every 3 months, you would get a report card. And they would say, this is what you need to focus on. Maybe you need to keep working more on your math. You didn't do so good this semester. And then there was always a Parents' Day, remember? Parents' Day, where the parents would come to school and the teacher would tell your parents, I hated Parents' Day. Oh. Because I used to go to these fancy private schools in South Africa. And in these schools, they had the cookies. And you had to be so prim and proper. You had your shoes had to be polished well. My dad hated coming to these things. And if a teacher said I didn't do well in this, my dad would just hear I was naughty. He wouldn't even listen to the full message. He would just hear I was naughty and I would be yelled at all the way home. Oh, I hated Parents' Day. I really hated parents. I gotta do some forgiveness work on that stuff. I hated Parents' Day. Okay, but now we are our own parents. I guess I'm your parent now. Every day you're coming to Parents' Day. Because the consciousness on planet Earth right now is between 2 to 5. So I guess you're coming here for Parents' Day every day. But we had parents there where our parents would come and listen to what we did and what we didn't do, how our parents can help us succeed. Now we've got AI. So I guess the parents are AI now. Okay. And then you would have a break. Now as an adult, you don't have Parents' Day. You don't have a semester break. You don't have any of this. You don't have a report card. You have goals and you just keep going and you just keep going and you keep hustling and you keep hustling, and then one day you just burn out. Your marriage falls apart. You have health issues. Something happens in the 5 domains of life: financial, spiritual, emotional, psychological, physical, and relational. You just burn out in all. If you burn out in 1 or 3 of these, sometimes it's just one, it can collapse your whole life. And honestly, what I can tell you is that maybe that's the best thing that can happen to you. Because I was in America, I was in Asia, and I'd go to Africa and work there. And I realized, I was like, what is the point of this? What is the point of this? I just keep going. Every year is paying mortgage, paying bills. Okay, I buy a few nice things. I stay at a few nice hotels, and okay, but I eat at nice restaurants. But like, what is the point of this? Because I wasn't giving myself report cards. It was just goals. Oh, it's the end of the year. It's time to make New Year's resolutions. Okay. But what is the bigger picture of this? Until I started understanding all of the messages that I was getting from ayahuasca, and everything just started to come together. And I was like, oh my God, a huge moment in human history is coming. I gotta get prepared for this by giving myself time to rest. So few of us live like this. I was talking to my husband today about it. I said, babe, we prepared. I had enough runway with my own spiritual work. I had enough runway with my own therapy. I had enough runway with finances to be able to just check out. I didn't expect it to be this long of a checkout. I was ready to go back to work, but then I had some issues with people, crazies. But I kind of knew that this was coming. Well, I did know that this was coming. I was right all the way. I was so right. Now that we're here, I now can teach on this with confidence and say, listen, if you're not giving yourself time to rest, especially like on Sundays, why do you need to go and be with people when you're going to be with people Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on Saturday? You've got to go to Little League. You've got to go to this and this and this and this and this. Why do you need to be around people? Why are you afraid of yourself? Why are you afraid of spending time by yourself, where it's always a girl's brunch this or a boy's brunch this, or I gotta be busy doing this, I gotta go shopping this. Okay, these other things is important to do, like being there for your children, getting ready on Sunday for Monday. This is important. But on Sunday is time to maybe take naps. I take naps on Sundays. It's like I have a very slow life as it is, but Sunday I don't feel shame for taking naps. I literally take naps on Sunday and I enjoy my naps. Honestly, I enjoy my naps. When last did you take a nap? Einstein took naps. Einstein took naps. Children take naps. Your consciousness is between ages of 2 and 5. Honestly. This early indoctrination into being a human taught us. It was teaching us how to live here on planet Earth. When you forget, because now you're 25, you're 35, you're 45, you're 55, you're 65, you're 75, and you've just been working. Of course you're going to crash out. Of course. Of course. Because you are out of alignment with the rhythm of life. You are out of alignment. You've become a bot. And that's why so many of us are walking through this world and we feel purposeless. We feel like, what is the point? I keep doing this, but it's like you keep achieving, and then it starts backfiring. And then you're like, oh my goodness, I need to stop this from backfiring. And then you're working on this, it backfires here. You're working on this, it backfires here. It's just like, it's madness. How do we expect humans to not unalive themselves when this is the nature of life? When you take breaks and you give yourself, I'm not saying just completely check out from the world like I did, but I'm saying on Sundays, you could have time to just say, I'm not interested in engaging with others. I want to turn within. Be by myself. Be with me. Be with my family. And that's that. The more time you spend in reflection, the better your choices. The better you get to know who you are. Especially if you're doing international business, the better. Because everybody comes, especially if you're doing international business, everyone comes to business with their own cultural expectation, their own traumas from their own ancestors, their own identities. If you're an African working with Chinese people, they have their own culture. If you're an African working with Americans, they have their own culture. And if you do not know thyself because you do not reflect, it doesn't matter whether you're Chinese or American or African or European, because you do not reflect, people will play you like a fool. You will make decisions thinking that, oh, this is good for the whole. When you wake up 5 years from there, you will want to hang yourself. This is why humans are unaliving themselves in foreign countries. How do you think I know this? Because I've had people that have called me before they unalive themselves in foreign countries. I've known people even in America, in their own country, because they don't take time to just think, why am I doing this? Why am I making this choice? And what is the trajectory of this choice a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? But Tembi, I can't think that far because life is always changing. Truth. Life is always changing. You can't really, honestly, look, I can be the first one to tell you this. You can't really know with certainty that the choice you're making today is not going to backfire on you 18 years from now. You don't know. You don't know. But if you know thyself, you will know how to be truthful. You will know how to stand in your sovereignty, no matter how bad it gets. This is the power of self-reflection, of reflection, of self-awareness. You will not be swayed by the change of consciousness. You will not. You'll be like, this is who I am. This is what I like. This is what I will tolerate. And this is what I will not tolerate. I don't care what it looks like. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Out. But I'm going to stand sovereign. That's true power. Because life changes all the time. Life changes all the time. If you've noticed, on my live streams, I talk a lot about people unaliving themselves. Death. I love death. Because this is what we fear the most. So let's just talk about it. A lot of our choices lead us to moments of, when I die, what happens? Where do I go when I die? And if we're not asking these questions now, with the choices that we're making now, you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to be so filled with regret. Regret. You wasted your life. There's no such thing as wasting your life. You've learned something. Like at the end of your grade, right? So if you were in grade 1, at the end of the grade, you get a report whether you're going to be pushed, whether you're going to move forward, you're going to pass and go to grade 2. It's the same as life. A soul journey. Are you going to stay and repeat? Are you going to be in spiritual special ed, where you're just repeating the lessons because you do not take time to just be quiet a little bit, quiet, reflect. Why is this person in my life? I'm sorry, but like I want to ask, what am I learning from being with this person? What are they teaching me? What are they activating in me? Why am I in this job? Oh, I don't understand. Why am I surrounded by these people? Why am I living in this city? This is what I've been asking myself recently. I'm like, I need to find somewhere else to go. I don't understand why I'm in this city anymore. I've healed. I moved to Bangkok to stabilize out of the jungle, and I said to myself, okay, I need to get strong. If I don't, like, the whole thing was it's a city, it's loud, it's busy, it's all of this stuff. And am I going to still be able to be calm? Still be able to be centered in my own wisdom from the rest I received in the jungle? So now I've come to that stage and I'm like, I really like living in Bangkok, but I've started asking, okay, why am I in the city? What am I learning here? If you don't ask yourself something, you could be living somewhere for 10 years and you don't like it, but it's just convenient. Your life is not supposed to be this. Life is an adventure. My husband doesn't like it very much, but he says, oh, you think that the grass is greener on the other side. No, I learned it's not. But I grow as a person, allowing myself to be challenged by new experiences. I grow. It's not that the grass is greener on the other side. It's just that I, as a human being, grow. Because whatever country I land in, I understand what the people of that country need. So then I grow as a person, and I'm just like, wow, this is interesting. I didn't know this about myself. And I didn't know I need to grow like this within my own being. So I challenge you, human being. It's important to take reflection, time, rest. Okay. So let's see. Sacred listening means being available to receive instructions, even rest. Sometimes the most profound guidance comes in quiet moments when your ego's defenses are down. Today you practice the receptivity of rest, being open to wisdom without agenda, receiving guidance without immediate need to act. The deepest instruction often comes not through dramatic revelations, but through subtle whispers that only a truly receptive heart can hear. Today, you practice the quality of listening that allows wisdom to enter through the smallest openings, the gentlest suggestions, the most unexpected sources. So we're going to practice. Sit in complete silence for 10 minutes with no agenda, except to listen. Don't seek guidance. Simply remain available to receive whatever wisdom wants to come. Where is this wisdom coming from? Within you. Everything you need is within. You've had so many experiences in life. Taking time to rest allows for the brain to integrate all of these experiences. Sensory, audio, taste-wise. If you're 40, your life has just been a conglomerate of experience. A buffet of experiences. This has been your life. Huh? Think about it. And so if you don't give yourself time to rest, when do you filter through what is working for you and what is not working for you? It's because we have a fear of being alone. Because as human beings, there's a part of us that really does not like ourselves. I don't know who taught us this, but in primary school, we were given the foundation, good foundation. But when we become older, this foundation goes out of the hand. It's amazing. Okay, sit in complete stillness for 10 minutes with no agenda except to listen. Don't seek guidance. Simply remain available to receive whatever wisdom wants to come. It is coming through you. It is coming through you. Okay? Say, I am a sacred vessel for divine instruction. Wisdom flows to me through the openness of my listening. People who don't listen make really bad choices. Really destructive choices. And they don't understand when they are making those choices that those choices are going to cost them many lifetimes. They're going to be in hell realms for many, many lifetimes. I don't think Idi Amin understood the choices he was making. I don't think so. I don't think he took time to sit down and think. I don't think Stalin and Hitler understood the magnitude of the choices they were making. Okay, they're famous, but for what? For being a tyrant on this planet? And there's a lot of other people that live like this. And then they're afraid to die. And they're afraid to go to hell. You made a choice. Why are you afraid now? It's amazing. So, human beings, you are capable of great choices. The only way to build that capacity, to build that strength, and to live in that knowingness, I am capable of incredible choices, courageous choices, is to sit and be still. So let's do that together. How was that? Calm today, right? Because I rested yesterday.